Hey guys, it's Carolina here from KarolinasKrafts and welcome back to my channel. So today's video I wanted to show you guys how to make these awesome pumpkin shakers. Sorry, I know the glare because there's acetate on here and I'm also using mirror board for the gold. So I'm trying not to blind you guys here, but here is a shaker that I had created and it's just so gorgeous. So sorry. Okay, and I also created one that kind of opens up into a card so you could write something there. And I think they're so fun, and so many of you guys loved it when I shared this on my Instagram page. I just couldn't film the video because I was waiting for something to come in since I ran out of it after creating these two. So I wanted to wait for that and show you guys how I'm going to create these. So this time, instead of using a die, this is not a die, it's, well, I guess it kind of is, but it's a digital die. So it's an SVG file and it also comes in a DXF form. It's not from my shop, it's from another person's shop, but I'll have that file linked down below. And I just loved how they created the pumpkin, and it has like the lines and everything, and to me that's just gorgeous. I love pumpkins, I love fall season, I love autumn. Like, I love it all, but this pumpkin was just absolutely gorgeous that I needed to get the file and create some shakers, and I also just love making shakers. So the sequins that I used are actually from Dollar Tree, but I'm sure you could find orange, brown, and gold sequins anywhere. I just got mine from Dollar Tree and it came in like a pack like that with all the colors. So I'll show you guys exactly what that looks like later as we get into the video, but before I get started, please don't forget to click that red subscribe button down below. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you like it, and yeah, let's get started and I'll show you guys how I created this pumpkin shaker card using an SVG file. So I will have the shop linked down below, but I'm going to just download this, and I had it already before, but I just don't know where it disappeared to. So here's a zip file. I just have to open it here. It has the files inside of it, so then a folder comes out. Then I got this. For some reason, this file, it doesn't want to let me use the SVG, so if I drag it and drop it into my program, this is what I get, that the file is not supported. So I'm actually going to use the DXF file this time. I don't know why the SVG is not working. Like, I have the business edition and it's supposed to work, but for some reason with this SVG file in particular, like my SVG files work just fine, but this one, I don't know. So anyway, I could use a DXF file, no problemo. Okay, so nothing is like put together, so I'm gonna put this back together and I'm just going to group it, make sure everything is together. I'm gonna group this one back together, that one is together, and everything else is together. Next thing I'm going to do, so I want to make my card about like 5 or so inches, I think. So I'm gonna make this, I think, a little smaller. I don't remember how big my pumpkin was before, but I think like a 5-inch is good. Okay, I'm also gonna change my paper size back here. I have it on 12 by 12. But I'm going to change it to a letter size, which made that smaller. Now, since I selected everything and sized everything down, everything is still going to fit inside of one another. So this is going to fit on top of here and it's fine. So what I'm going to do now, if you want to make a card base also, you're going to take this piece, you're going to click on this little icon up here. If you guys could see that, it says open the replicate window, and this opens up. And I'm going to click duplicate left. So when I click that, I get another one on the outside. Now what I'm going to do is just use the arrows on my keyboard, and I'm just going to press this, and it's slowly moving this over, okay? So once I have that, you guys could see that the two pumpkins are kind of interlocking. It's kind of like a Venn diagram, but with pumpkins. So what I'm going to do now is just use my line tool here, make a line. I'm going to make a line down the middle. It's not actually cutting anything, but just making a line down the middle. I'm going to change that using my line setting here, and I'm going to make that a dotted line. So now you guys see here I have a dotted line. I am going to move this over to the middle to where it kind of like meets the 2 points in the middle. And then I'm going to select the other two pumpkins. Oops, what am I doing? Okay, so I'm going to select the two pumpkins without that line in the middle, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit weld, which is going to get rid of that middle line. So now I'm going to make that smaller just to fit on the inside. That's actually not directly in the middle, so I'm going to move it over a little bit more. I want it like on that middle. Okay, so then I'm gonna have those there. And now when I cut this out on white cardstock, this is like my card base. This will open and fold for me. So I'm just gonna group that all together so that I have that for my next part. Okay, so then I'm gonna put down this onto my paper. I'm going to turn it. I turned it because I want to fit 4 to a page. So I'm gonna take that. Then I'm going to click on this little icon right here, and that gives me these options, and I'm going to click duplicate right, and that will duplicate it on my page, and then I will duplicate it again down below. So I'm going to have 4 to my page here right now. What I'm going to do now is just make sure my cut settings are all good. So I want to make sure to have this on heavy cardstock, and these are just my settings with a double cut and everything. It's not going to cut completely through on my foam, but I have my foam here. It's not going to cut completely through, but you guys will see what we're going to do with that. And I'm just using this foam here. It's Fun Foam Sheets. They're very thin, but this is the only thing that will actually fit through my silhouette cutting machine. Otherwise, if I were using a die, I would obviously use super thick foam, but we have to cut this a few times because we got to be layering it. And as you guys could see, it is very like thin foam. So we're gonna cut this out with heavyweight cardstock settings and just get 4 of these. Okay guys, so I have my sheet here. This is the foam that we cut out. I don't know if you guys can see like those cut lines. I'm just gonna push this through with my finger from the back, and it's just going to be something like that. So I'm gonna push them all through and take out all of like the inside pieces. So it's like cut but not cut, if that makes sense. So again, I'm pushing through the insides as well, and I'm just like pulling them through here, or just like, I guess, pulling them out in a way. So I'm just gonna do this to all 4 of these. We might only use like 3 or so, but we shall see how many I'm gonna end up using. One other thing is that you want to keep these all the same direction, because when you glue them on, that's going to be super important. So the way that I'm pulling them out and then through, I'm gonna keep them like face up, I guess, if that makes sense. You do not want to change the direction of these. You're going to switch out the cut up pumpkin and put the full pumpkin now. So the next thing I'm going to do is just, I put down my patterned paper that I want for the background of my pumpkin, and I'm going to change my settings to be light cardstock because this is not a heavyweight right now. So light cardstock, and that's cutting out. Next thing I'm going to do is just put down a piece of acetate. So I will link the acetate that I'm using down below, but I'm gonna put this down on my cutting machine. So I got my acetate. I'm gonna put this in here, and I'm gonna actually run this through a couple of times. So, oops, no, we need this. But change that to heavy cardstock, and I'm gonna press start and send to silhouette, but once it's done, I'm just gonna click send to silhouette again without taking it out of the machine. I just wanna make sure it's fully cut through. All right, and here is my acetate piece, and then put down a piece of paper for that top patterned piece. So I'm gonna put this down, and I'm going to change this out. So I could really have any size. It really depends on your scraps. Sometimes I do the long way, sometimes this way, but I'm going to do this on a light cardstock setting. So I'm gonna go back and change this to light cardstock now and cut that piece out. So I'm gonna move this aside, and I'm gonna put this guy back here, okay? So this is my card base. I'm going to cut this out. Obviously on a piece of white cardstock. So I'm just gonna put it on the side here, and I'm gonna send this to the silhouette. I'm also using my heavy cardstock settings because it's a thick cardstock, and I already have it loaded. So I'm just gonna have this cut out now. Okay, so then I also got my card base cut out. So the next thing I'm going to do is move this out of my thing, and I'm gonna put in all of my little pieces. So these little pieces I'm going to cut out in orange. Then this piece obviously you're gonna cut out in brown and just do the same process, and I'll be back after I have everything cut out. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is just start assembling my card. So we don't need this anymore, which is the card base. We don't need that for now. I'm just gonna put that aside. What I'm gonna do here is attach my clear acetate to my first layer of my foam. Okay, you wanna make sure that all of these line up though, because if they don't, well, that's not fun either. Okay, so I'm not even gonna attach this top layer to my acetate yet because I haven't decided yet if I kind of like this pattern yet. So I'm not gonna attach it yet, but I am going to attach my acetate to my pumpkin. So I'm gonna use some art glitter glue. And I really like this glue. It's probably like my favorite. I used to use a different one, but I have since switched to this. And you guys can see my lines aren't like super cut precisely, only because we did kind of oh my god, that's a lot of glue. We did kind of push through on the foam because, you know, it wasn't cutting through completely. If you have like a thick blade and if your silhouette can do a thicker blade, then I would recommend you know, obviously doing that, but I don't have that. So I'm just like working with what I got because I still want to craft here. So I'm just putting some glue on top of this, and you guys could see I'm like spreading it out with my finger. I don't want glue all over the place, but I do want my acetate to stick real well to my foam. So I'm just rubbing some glue on here. Then I'm going to take my acetate and I'm going to lay it on top as precisely as I can without moving it around. And I actually did a pretty good job, if I may say so myself. Then I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to lay down my next layer of glue on the foam again. This part is the easy part, I think. I think putting together everything is the easy part. I think taking or like cutting everything and figuring out what papers you want to use is the harder part. But once you got all that down, putting it together is a breeze. And I'm gonna layer this next piece of foam, but as you guys saw, when we layered the first one, obviously it was flipped over this way. So we're gonna take this off my pile and flip it back. Now it's super important, you wanna keep this flipped the same way. If you don't, they're not exactly even on both sides. So if you move it and you flip it over to the other side, you will have some foam sticking out. And I'll show you guys like what I mean in a second, since my other project kind of turned out like that. I didn't realize they're not like equal on both sides, so they're not like, I guess, it's not a spitting mirror image of one another is what I'm saying. So right now you guys could see my foam is lining up. In my other project, you guys could see some foam is sticking out here. You guys see the white, and that's because I didn't realize that I needed to make sure everything was layered the same way, which is why it's super important when you cut out your foam to make sure it's all facing the same direction and you don't flip any of them. So I actually might be okay with just 2 layers. I'm trying to see if like this would be an okay amount of foam here. I am scared though because I don't want, obviously I want my foam to be able to move around in here, or my sequins rather. I really do want it to be able to move around freely, but we're gonna go for it here and we're gonna try just the 2 layers of foam instead of the 3. I was gonna do 3, but we'll try 2, and if anything I'll make another shaker. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. That's all I got. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna let some of this glue dry before I do anything else. I don't want my foam to move around. It's like laid down so nicely right now that I don't want to touch it. So I'm just gonna let this dry and I will be right back. All right guys, getting back to my shaker here. I'm gonna let this dry a little bit more before we continue with that. What I'm gonna do here now is actually just put down some glue on the outside. I don't know if you guys saw in my other pumpkins, but I kind of added a piece of tulle to the base, and I actually really like that. I feel like it mutes down the color just a little bit, and I think it adds a little something something. So I'm gonna add some tulle, and to do that I'm just going to add a layer of glue on the outside edges, just enough for the tulle to stick to. And then I'm just going to place down my piece of tulle here, and we are going to cut obviously it off, but I'm going to smudge out some of that glue with my fingers because crafting is messy and it's just how I roll. And then I'm going to cut off the excess tulle. And I'm going to let that dry in the meantime and just like let that stick to it. Then I'm going to come back to this. So let's move this guy aside now. I'm going to come back to this now, and what I'm going to do is take this is called, I think, like an embossing buddy. It basically just has like baby powder in it, but the goal is for my glue and for my sequins to not stick to this. So I'm just going to rub it all on the inside edges of my acetate and around my foam. Any glue that may be sticky or whatever it is, we're kind of just going to make sure it's not sticky because I don't want my sequins to stick to it. That's the goal of that. Then I have my sequins. Now this is what I told you guys is from Dollar Tree. I have been using the orange, the gold, and the brown. There's also like a lighter gold, a pinkish gold, and then an actual like light pink, like a rose gold. I'm going to be using these last three again because I think these colors just go best with my card here. So I'm going to use those three here. And I'm just going to put some sequins into my shaker. Okay, so I'm just going to take some out and sprinkle them in. I'll probably end up using this whole entire thing right now. Okay, so I think that's a good amount. I guess we're not going too crazy. I didn't use up all my shaker bits, but it's definitely not enough for another card like this. Alright, so I'm adding in some gold. Again, I'm OCD on the sides, so they have to be even on both sides for me. Okay, we're done with the gold, and now I'm going to put down some of this orange. Okay, I used a little bit less orange, but that's okay. So I have that piece there. I'm going to start taking off, or cutting off, I guess, the excess of this tulle, just going around the image. Okay, so I have my tulle here. I have my sequins. What I'm going to do is actually just align the tulle or my sheet to this. I want to make sure that everything is still shaking. I didn't glue anything down yet, but I'm going to hold down the bottom, and I want to make sure that this is still shaking. Shake, shake, shake. Okay, I feel like I have like too much sequins going on here, so I'm going to take some out from... Okay, well, I made a mess, and I can't exactly count now what I got going on. But I'm going to take some out because I think that was a little too much. So I'm going to try to take some out from each one of these. So I think that's going to be a good amount now. What I'm going to do now is just glue the back piece to this. So I'm putting some more glue down on the foam. We are going to spread it out with my finger again. And you want to get this like everywhere. You want to get the glue everywhere because when you put down the background, you don't want any of your sequins falling out as they were for me before, but that's because nothing was glued down. So you just want to make sure it's everywhere. I'm just fixing up my little mesh here just a little bit. I see some sticking out before I glue it down. Okay, so now I'm going to stick this down, make sure it's facing the right way. And once it's down, it's there. Okay, I'm going to look from underneath and make sure it's lined up as best as possible. And if it's not, that's okay, because we could always cut off some more before we glue this down to the base. But I'm going to let this dry for a little bit. Actually, I'm going to glue down the base too while I'm at it. So I want my card to open that way. So I'm going to glue this down. Just going to put some glue on here on my pumpkin, and I'm going to stick him down. That's not straight. Okay, so I will be back. I'm going to let all this dry, and I'll be back again. Alright, so I think I'm all set to go. Look, you guys. It looks so cute. Loving it. Okay, so now we have to do the front part. Now this is what I was going to do. Actually, you know what? That looks good. That looks better than I was thinking it was going to look. I wasn't loving it before, but I kind of like it now. Then I also have my other pieces here. So I have 2 of these pieces that I cut out because my paper is not thick at all. So I'm just going to lay down some glue. Just like a little bit, and I'm gonna stick them together. It's just gonna make it a little thicker because my brown cardstock was just very thin here. So this is gonna go here, obviously. I just want to like organize this and like see what it looks like. I cut out some brown because I wasn't sure what I wanted to decorate with, but I do like the top. So I'm gonna lay down the top first, okay? So that means I'm going to lay down some glue on here. Just a nice thin layer of glue. And again, when we place this down, you don't want to move it, so be very careful. And I'm kind of layering this one in the middle. You can spread this out with your finger, but I'm not going to this time. And I'm going to lay this down as evenly as possible on top of my card here. So I'm trying to also lay it down in a way where the white is not going to be showing too much. Looking so pretty, guys. I love it. Okay, I am going to glue down my stem, but I'm only going to put down a little bit of glue down here. And that's going to end up getting covered up with all the other decorations that we're going to do. So that is just going to live here. Okay, and now I'm ready to decorate. So I do like the brown a lot. I might do the orange, but maybe I'll see with my green. So I have some green ones that I cut out last time and I just didn't like how they looked with my project, but maybe this time. No, I think the green is just too much. It's too bright, not very fall-like. So we got the brown, we got the orange. I also cut out like a smaller leaf, so I just resized it in the program before I had cut them out. I think that looks cute. Then I also have my swirlies, and these I cut out in gold because, you know, I like me some gold. If there was no gold in this card, I would be concerned about my well-being. No joke. Gold is just a thing that like has to exist. There is no card without gold. Ooh, that looks good like that, guys. Okay, so I think I'm gonna stick that down. Glue down here. Okay. And I think that was like doing something like that here. Okay, this guy I'm also gonna stick down. But this guy could go like right here. Okay. Then I knew I wanted to stick down this leaf. So again, a little bit of glue. Okay, I'm gonna stick this guy down, the orange. And I am using some gold, not gold, some glitter cardstock. I want this orange to be like a little bit underneath that gold. If you guys could see, I put him underneath. Okay, maybe something like that. I think I'm actually just gonna leave it like that without the small pieces. So here is what the shaker turned out like. I think it's so cute, guys. Let me show you guys up close. I think it's adorable. Here we go up close. Here's the shaker we just did together. So 2 layers was enough with my thin foam. I guess I didn't need to cut out all those pieces, but I will cut out some more pumpkin-y pieces and make another shaker since I still have 2 more of these pieces left, so that's fine. I'm loving making these shakers and they look so cute. So I'm gonna probably do one more different pattern. So now I have this shaker that I showed you guys how to make, and I hope you guys loved watching this video and learning how to make a shaker with an SVG file. And then here's a previous gold one I had made. They're all just like so cute. You guys could see that this new one has a little bit more sequins in it. I just thought there was a little too little in these ones. And then there's also this one. But I love that I turned this into gold, like these pieces. I think that adds a little something something. So yeah, I really love how they turned out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you again so much for watching. Please don't forget to click that red subscribe button down below and turn on your bell notification so that you guys are notified of when I post new videos, because I got lots of crafty videos coming your way. More shakers, more everything, and I'm having so much fun filming all these crafting videos for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!